So, that started World War One. People were freaking out that this could be like World War Three with a Turkish possibly backed by the Americans because of NATO. People were freaking out thinking, yeah, World War III's on the brink now. But even at the time, I wasn't super afraid because... Sorry, like, this video game is distracting the shit out of me. Because I knew that the Russian ambassador is a lot different than a duke of his country. And the Turk that killed the Russian ambassador was kind of a rogue policeman, from my understanding. I might have to do more research on what was the deal with the Turkish, but my thing being is that like what matters most, and the point I'm trying to make is at the time I knew and I wasn't afraid of a possible World War III scenario. But what I am concerned about now is this is a Russian ally. Like, the Americans did it with their own Tomahawk missiles, with their own ships, with orders by the president. Now, I'm not saying this is going to start World War III, because the Russians technically kind of okayed it. But what I'm getting at here is that they might have something to do with it. Because if you've noticed, one thing that's funny, whenever stuff for Trump shits the bed, guess where he's at with the world leader? Mar-a-Lago. When the North Koreans did their nuclear missile launch tests that were successful back in like February 13 of 2017, when shit hit the fan, Shinzo Abe of Japan was with Donald Trump, and the North Koreans basically launched a nuke, a test nuke, into Japanese territory, and that was in Japanese territory. That was at Mar-a-Lago. A funny coincidence is Xi Jinping of China was with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago when he decided to launch the 59 Tomahawk missiles at the Al-Sharat airfield in Syria, in northern Syria. So it's just kind of a funny observation. Whenever Trump's with the world leader at Mar-a-Lago, from now on, expect shit to hit the fan hardcore. And another thing that also I find concerning, let me go through my notes again, because like this is just like with my sources, I'm gonna have to put them in my YouTube video after I upload it. I'm gonna make sure I put the sources I edited in the description setting, so you guys can view my sources, so you know I'm not completely full of shit. Let's see. So the real reason why we're in Syria is actually a pretty big no-brainer. It's a fucking pipeline that is backed by the Turks and the Americans, and it goes through Jordan, Iraq, Turkey, through Saudi Arabia into Qatar. It's backed by the Americans, Turks, and, you know, all the countries going through it except Syria. The Syrians and Russians have a pipeline that happens to go through, let's see, it goes through Iraq, Iran, Syria, and I think even Azerbaijan, which they're all okay with. But because of our crossing pipeline in Syria, it's really a fucking oil war. So just like Iraq and being lied to by the media and the government, it's oil wars. That's the main reason why we're in Syria right now. So that's why you shouldn't believe everything the press is saying right now, or at least be cautious. Because I'll admit it, I could be completely wrong on this, and Assad could have gotten his chemical weapons by the Russians, who took the stockpile, could have gave it back to him, or gave him sarin and let him gas his people, because the Russians are strong allies with al-Bashir Assad. But the message I'm trying to put out is be cautious, and I personally believe that Assad did not gas his own people this time, even though he's a terrible asshole. But I'm just giving the message out to be cautious. Shit, who's shooting at me? Go away. And then, yeah, so that's basically why we're there. A pipeline that crosses each other. I just posted it on my Instagram today. Sorry, I get fucking distracted by me playing the game. I cannot do this at all, but other talking points. Oh yeah, moving the goalpost. So when we entered Syria back in 2013 or started our little proxy war, our main goal was to stop ISIS, but stop the government at the same time. So we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. Now the main issue, the main goalpost we're setting now is, oh, Assad is a very bad guy. So now we're moving the goalposts like we did in Iraq. So let's look at the goalposts. First, and I really get my good ideas from Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske. He's a big inspiration to me. But at first it was, oh, Saddam Hussein's involved with 9/11. Okay, later we find out that he wasn't, but we still invaded Iraq. Okay, we move the goalpost to, oh, he has weapons of mass destruction. And then later on, it turns out, guess what? Saddam Hussein had no weapons of mass destruction, but we still invaded him. And then we later find out that, oh, no weapons of mass destruction at all. We were kind of fucking lied to by our own government. And then we just moved the goalpost to, oh, he was a bad guy. So we invade him and spend $7 trillion on the war just because he was a bad guy. We might as well ravage all of Africa and its warlords because they're bad people. But no, Africa doesn't have as much oil as the Middle East, so of course we wouldn't be going into the Middle East. It's just kind of a funny observation. So this video is super disjointed because I didn't prepare enough, but I wanted to give you my thoughts. And basically my conclusion is, be safe and be cautious with what you're hearing from the media. Because just because MSNBC, Fox News, oh god, Fox, oh god, CNN, but because those sources told you, because the Washington Post said so, just because the Drudge Report, because you heard it from Alex Jones, or because Alex Jones agrees, isn't all justification that you're right. Who knows, I could be completely wrong. I'm just telling you, be cautious, because we have a history of the media doing the government's deed with the lies and pulling it over our eyes. So with the whole Iraq and Syria situation, fool me once, shame on you, President Bush. Fool me twice, it's shame on us now. We can't blame the media for being wrong. We can't blame President Trump for lying, because it's what they're expected to do at this point. So back in 2001, 2003, we could blame somebody else but us, but now at this point, it's kind of on us. So I don't know if making America great again is going against campaign promises and invading another country or attacking another country. But before I get more disjointed, I think I'll leave it off there. Okay, thank you guys.